Okay, what you see here is the Mary Curtis Ratcliff group show. Now, that means that not only is there one body of work represented over the last 50 years, there's actually 6 bodies of work. So I'm going to start with the ones the earliest ones, the oldest ones, and they are these ribbon sculptures. I did these in 1982. Now, I had done other ribbon sculptures before, but these are the ones that happened to get into this show for one reason or another. So these are rayon ribbons. They're kinetic, and they cast shadows if they're lit nicely. And it works on this one. The other ribbon sculpture is bananas and cream. This one's called Passkeys. That's bananas and cream. I did that also in 1982. Hi, Alice. And I did a whole bunch of them. So some of them I put outside, and they're 12 feet long, and they, get bollocked by the wind, but these are more sort of quiet, more indoor pieces. And so after I did that, the next thing was these large sculptures, and I did about 7 of them. This one is Josephine. This was a commemorative piece to Josephine Baker, who to me was an incredibly courageous person that became the toast of the town in Paris in the 1930s and 40s. And so I made this commemorative piece to her. And I actually went to the Folies Bergère when I was about 16, and I saw all sorts of dancers with all these, fluffy things all over them. And so that stayed in my mind as well. This is another piece called Vestal from that series. And I did about 7 of those, and I had a very small studio, and I had to think, well, now what am I going to do? I'm running out of space, which is something that happens to artists a lot. And so I had a dream, and in my dream I thought of cakes for some unknown reason. They were sculptural, they're circular. So the circle is the theme that kind of runs throughout the work. And so I did these cakes back here, and they first I did these 3-dimensional cakes. This is the wedding cake, and it says, "It seemed like a good idea at the time." That was my first marriage, not my second. And then this one is an homage to Liberace. You might, if you come close, you'll see a little tiny candelabra, because I think he was really incredible. I mean, what courage. This one is called the homage to Barbara Bush. Now, Barbara Bush had white hair, so I used this fake, fur, and then she also used to brag about her fake pearls. Remember that? Yeah. And so I dripped this whole thing with pearls, just for the heck of it. And let's see, what did I do next? The paper dolls. I'm sorry. No, we're still on cakes. Sorry, Steve.
It's all right. I was moving on.
Sorry. So these pieces are done. I went from 3-dimensional cakes to 2-dimensional cakes. Now, I had found in an antique store in Alameda a big, huge book of 50s wallpaper, those big ones that have a huge, big, black, thick cover, and they come in different colors. So, for instance, this is the exact same image, it just has a different color scheme. So I was able to take them and with a silver background, a yellow background, and a blue background, and juxtapose them on top of the other. These has a blue background, a gray background, and a pink background. And then I really had fun painting these goofy chrysanthemums all over the place. And then this one is called Village. And so it again uses the same theme of using this wallpaper with 3 different backgrounds.
So it's from a sample book.
It's a sample book. Yeah, and they're big. They're big. I made a whole, I did cakes for about 3.5 years. And a friend of mine said, "Why are you doing all those cakes?" And I said, "I don't know, I like them." Why not? You know? So this was fun because I got to take the image, be inspired by what was in the image of the wallpaper and extend it out. You know, fill in this tree, put a barn up here, another tree, and if you look very carefully, you'll see a little sticker of a dancing pig right there. So you know, I have this kind of wacky sense of humor sometimes, and this pig definitely is a manifestation of that. So after I did this, I decided to do paper dolls. Paper doll corner this way. So I did a whole bunch of paper dolls for many years, and in these you see some 50s wallpaper here and here, but the fashions are actually the 40s. I love 40s fashions. Of all the fashions in the last century and this century, to me, the 40s have the most beautiful style. And so I used these as 40s fashions on 50s wallpaper. And then this is also a 40s, it's a Dior. And this is, the name of this piece is called Take Back Your Mink. Now, I don't know if you know that song, Take Back Your Mink, take back your poils. What made you think that I was one of them goyles? So here's the mink. Here are the poils. Here's a clamshell. And up here is an image of a Japanese pearl diver that was taken by one of my relatives who went around the world in the 1950s and took a lot of really fabulous, she was a really good photographer, so I have a whole archive of her images. So I transferred the pearl diver up here. And then this actually is a photograph of me when I was 19. And it was taken by my Hungarian boyfriend at the time, who, and the name of the piece is Siren. Anyway, I like the image, especially because it's half there, you know, half of me is cut off. But I decided that I would Xerox it onto acetate, and then these are just straight black and white images. I don't know where that's a sepia one. I don't know how I got that. And so I just kept repeating it and kept flipping it and doing all sorts of tricks with it. That was really fun. This is in Peter's collection.
Your second husband.
My second husband. Yes.
Was it a better idea?
Much better idea. It was the best idea I've ever had. Okay, so then you can turn and look at this piece here, which is called Chandeliers. And from now on, everything I did came from my photography. I started taking photographs when I was about 7 with a little brownie camera that you look through like that and it would take your picture like that. Went click on the side. Anyway, I've been photographing my whole life, and I do series of photographs. Like I've photographed staircases and chandeliers and water and sky and clouds and all sorts of things. Anyway, so this was an interesting one because the original photograph is this here, and it was actually a wake from a boat in Alaska. And one day I went a little berserk with the paint and just started throwing it and doing all sorts of things with it. And then I put these two chandeliers, which are from let's see, a church in the south of France, where I was doing a residency at the time. And then I put a piece up here, I collaged it on, and I didn't like it. And it usually doesn't happen to me. I said, you know, this is not working. So I put it away. And then a couple of years later said, wait a minute, let me find that. So I brought it out. I took off the collaged piece. And I said, okay, now what am I going to do? There was a big blank space. I said, oh, chandeliers. I have a series of chandeliers. And so I looked in all my archive, and this is the chandelier from the Central Cafe in Vienna. So this was so much fun to paint. I can't tell you. It was really, really, really fun. So I did that, and it's totally weird, but I love it. Okay, and then behind you on the other wall, there's a couple of other mixed media works on paper.